welcome back. This is episode 7, the final episode of our Mental Health, a Series for Men project. Today we're going to be talking about how you maintain and you cope with your mental health. How do you, once you take that path through the struggle of mental health and you finally reach the point where you're starting to feel better, you're starting to feel like yourself again, how do we maintain that and keep it exactly where we want it to be? Because a lot of people fall victim to getting to that point, but ultimately drowning again and falling in that black hole that seems impossible to get out of. So as you can see, we're back with Blake Fontana and Zay Lewis. Got Gannon in the corner, chilling with the foot up. But I'm ready to dive into this one. I think this could be some really good conversation about how to maintain your mental health. So we talked in episode 4 about the question, what's wrong? And same people, great discussion. But now I want to ask you, Blake, you stated about your freshman year with the mental struggles and working out and trying to paint the picture of fixing your physique and working towards something. So once you got there and you got yourself into shape and you worked hard to get there, how do you maintain that now?
I think a big thing for me now is I've set what I call non-negotiables for myself every single day, which basically means every morning I sit down, I write 3 goals that I want to accomplish that day. And I write one thing out that I'm grateful for. Then when I get to the end of the day, I look back and see if I accomplished those 3 goals, and I ask myself questions like, what did I do today that went well? What can I do better tomorrow? And basically, how can I get support if I need it? And I think being aware of that every single day and being aware of the inputs that I'm putting in and also reflecting on that has a big impact on me maintaining level mindset as a whole.
Okay.
So with you saying, we had some conversations the past couple of years when I've gotten a haircut, just talking about the cutting and just have the relaxation part of it, the atmosphere of you being in there, just talking with your clients, that type of stuff. And then also, last week when we recorded our other episode, you said just being in there is, or being on the podcast is therapeutic, or you said that today actually. But besides that, we've been recording so much, it's just bouncing off. But why is it therapeutic? Just those couple big things that are everyday parts of your life, specifically, why are they therapeutic to you and help you get in a good mental state?
Yeah, it's all about the environment that you're in. If the environment is cool, it's just gonna allow you to just express yourself, or you just let yourself go. Talking is just therapeutic, something like this. Like I said, everything branches out. You don't know where this conversation could go. We could be talking about the Bears one moment, then we could be talking about mental health the next moment. It's more of just taking your mind away from what's really going on. That's when I used to play basketball. The only thing that's on your mind is either stopping this man in front of you or trying to get a goal. That's the only thing that's on your mind. The same thing with driving 250 miles in the desert. The only thing is trying to make it safe or what's ahead of you. But just the therapeutic, just conversations. Those can just put you at a level, man, and just even you out.
I agree 100% on that. I think, me personally, I said this back on your podcast last week, to me, communication is the biggest skill that you can possibly have. You don't necessarily have to be a social person, but I think just having that skill of being able and knowing how to communicate correctly.
Because there's good and bad communication.
Definitely. But having an open mind and open sense of mind communication, I think that could benefit your mental health severely. But we also talked about a key word we talked a lot about last week on your show was accountability. And I think that relates deep to mental health. So you talked about how you set yourself goals. How do you hold yourself accountable to actually accomplish those goals? Or do you, I wouldn't say a punishment in a way, but if you don't succeed with those goals, is there something that goes through your head on how to make sure you succeed with those goals the following day, or what do you do?
I think for me, if it's setting small things like 3 goals a day, basically it's setting my standards high enough to know that I need to follow through and complete those things. I think that's what leads to you having more belief in yourself and feeling more confident when you set your higher standards for yourself and actually show up and fulfill those. And it's what you need to do to become better. And once you can get in that flow, you create momentum with it, then you feel better as a whole.
In order to get to being able to hold yourself accountable, did you have any influences that helped you get to that point in your life to now where you're able to hold yourself accountable? Before getting to that spot, did you have people that helped you did they hold you accountable and that kind of
I think
worked in the process?
accountability partner is a good idea to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think never really had someone like directly every single week checking in on me and asking me if I completed what I wanted to complete. But I think even just telling your friends of what goals you're working towards, then at least you can circle back in conversation.
For sure.
And if you didn't do those goals, then you know you're not showing up in the way that you should show up to make yourself happy if it comes up.
Another key thing because I really stick out to me when I talk to people, have conversations, and kind of judge how they answer questions. And you said, just keep going today. I was asking you how you're doing. Just keep going. And it wasn't like an exhausted just keep going. You sounded tired when you said it, but you also had energy behind it. And that's kind of a cool tone to hear from people because you're tired and a lot of stuff's going on, but you're also enjoying it, being busy with your daughter, the barbershop, the podcast. How is this all just kind of transcended for you in the right direction?
When you know what's on you, it's
because it just seems like everything's good. Everything's just in that right direction.
Yeah.
That's what you wanted.
Yep.
At the end of the day, that's what you want.
I asked to be busy, and it's exactly what I got. So I'd be a fool to complain. This is I wake up and have it every day, just like we talked about. This is when you know what's on you, then you don't have a choice. Whether my daughter and I eat every night is on me. So she's not at that age to where she can put it on the table or anything like that. So I don't mind. I don't like asking anybody for anything. Like I said, but I'll talk to anybody about anything. But I know it's on me. So that just when you locked in, man, it's a different feel.
It is for sure. I like how you mentioned that you're working towards something. Gannon said you're on the right path with everything you're doing. And I think that's very important to heading in the right direction with good mental health. Actually, great mental health. I think if everything's trending upwards, obviously you're doing something right. It's a positive feeling. It feels great. How do you handle that tired feeling when you feel beat or you feel like maybe you wake up one day and you decide, I don't really want to record today? Is there anything you do to push yourself to make that happen?
When things are, trick myself into thinking when things are going great, you have to expect something unexpected is going to happen. So then you just prepare yourself for that moment.
Yeah. So it always seems like when something's going great,
something's good to be true.
Something's going to happen.
Bound.
You know what I'm saying? So you always gotta be prepared. So even if it's exhaustion, you gotta fight it. I'm a big fan of time, and there is enough time in the day. 24 hours is enough time if you utilize it correctly. But don't slip up and think that you have more time. Just because you think you can get it. The first lazy person said that we can get it done tomorrow. All right, so when you just trick yourself into always working, and then you won't feel bad about it, and you shouldn't feel bad about working anyway. Sure. Or just staying locked in. So
I like the habit. It's really what it is. You create the habit, and then if you don't do something, then it's weird. Like, why am I sitting down all day?
I like how you said 24 hours is enough time because all you gotta do is look at Aaron Rodgers and realize that he has 30 seconds and he can go from the 1 yard line and score a touchdown. So he has enough time to score a touchdown. We have enough time to get to it. 24 hours, 24 hours, plenty of time to get right to it.
You get the 1 minute drill. It's not the 2 minute.
Yeah, there. Topic for
A-Rod, baby. Go Pack, go.
But I'd say one of my last questions I have before Yannick can dive into some more stuff. We've talked about the goals. We've talked about how we hold each other accountable, how you hold yourself accountable to maintain that good lifestyle of feeling okay, feeling present, feeling like you have that purpose. Have you guys ever felt in a way that you've lacked purpose, or I don't know if you guys have ever felt that way, that deep in being lost or not, but if you didn't have a purpose, advice to someone right now, how would you tell someone to work towards a purpose? With you have the goals, but how are we telling someone to work towards finding a purpose? If someone out here is watching this video and they feel like they don't have a purpose, how do we help them feel like they have a purpose?
I think to remind yourself that you're going to have peaks, you're going to have valleys. Life's going to be full of highs and lows. Even when things are going well, there's going to be days where things feel like they're going like shit. I think a big thing to remember is at the end of the day, it's one day. You can always become better the next day, but you can't let one bad day ripple into a bad week and a bad one where you start to become like really quiet and not do anything about it. So I think just remind yourself that bad days can happen. You continue to become better the next day.
The thing I love and respect about you three is y'all are a lot farther along than what I was at y'all ages. So y'all already got it figured out as far as you guys want a legacy. It took me a while to think of that. Yeah, it was always on the back burner, but from I'd say 25 to 28, I was out here living without a purpose. Just having fun on a day-to-day basis and not doing anything to push towards a goal. Getting older, losing out on time, not realizing that, life is just passing me by. People my age are moving in the right direction. I'm going backwards. And that's why I said, I was 3 years behind at that time. So I had to figure out how to get 3 years ahead. Or catch up and then get 3 years ahead. But I say just don't, in your 20s, I would say don't think you have to have it all figured out. Take your time. Realize what you really want in life. And if you want something then and now, you got to get to it. You got to work toward it. But most definitely by your 30s, you better start figuring it out.
I think you should try a lot of different things too. Like be willing to try new things.
You have 100%.
It's out of your comfort zones when you're gonna find a lot out about yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, I really would have never imagined growing up throughout high school that I'd be sitting in front of a camera right now talking. That's growing up, that just wasn't me. But through trying new things and doing things that scare me, I think that's another big thing. Step out of your comfort zone and do something that makes you nervous as hell.
We don't know our fate, man. So when an opportunity arises, I think people should just take it.
Take it.
Because you don't know what's gonna happen or what's gonna come up.
It may end up being the best thing in your life, the best thing that ever happened.
That's true.
And I think that's what people are scared about. I think people live in that fear that if I do this, it may be scary and I may fail. But what if it turns out to be the best thing that's ever happened to you? I think that goes for relationships. I think that goes for going out for a sport if you're a younger athlete and you're scared as hell to go out and play football. I think it goes for making new friends at school, especially in college when you haven't met new people yet and you're not as social. I think doing something you're scared of always turns out to be something that helps you in the long run, I think. You got any final questions, Gannon?
Yeah, I got one more I know something we have a lot of the younger listeners and viewers coming in with high school sports and that stuff going on now. With people kind of want to talk about your guys' experiences because we've all graduated high school, obviously, and then that change factor of when you graduate high school, being around a lot of people that you grew up with, to all of a sudden, hey, everybody's across the country working, they're in the military, school, that type of thing. What were some of those things that helped you cope or just mentally kind of realize, hey, this is life, stuff's going to change? Because it's a big change. I know right away it hit me when I graduated and people started going away. Then I went away, then you only come back for a time, or just different scenarios everywhere. What was some of the things that you guys kind of went through, for some of the younger listeners out there that might be going through this coming up, sports and school, just in life? What are some of those things that kind of helped you guys out?
I had plans for me and all my friends getting out of high school. I thought,
exactly, you're just going to always
we
stay.
was all going to go, you know what I'm saying, one direction. We was going to, just do things. But what you got to realize, man, everybody has their own life and their own situations and the things that they aspire to be. It was big for me to let that go and start worrying about myself.
For sure.
What was Isaiah going to do? And I didn't realize that to maybe 25. So I would say, man, just either while you're in high school, you can get out. Really just kind of sometimes isolate yourself and see what you specifically like to do. It's okay to drink alone, and it's okay to want to, bring people along with you, but you solely have to figure out what you want in life. And don't be ashamed for wanting to go for it.
I like that a lot.
I agree with that a lot. I think the biggest thing is what you said is you want to try new things. Don't feel like you have to figure everything out right away. And I think going into college, the same thing. You're gonna have fears around maybe doing something that's not new or doing something that's uncomfortable. You have to be willing to step outside those fears, step outside your comfort zone because it's only gonna lead you towards the path you want to go.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's
That
great.
was a good final wrap up. I think
Great.
that's cool.
Yeah, great conversation there. Be uncomfortable. Do things that you're scared to do. Maintain your mental health by always working towards being a better you each and every day. I hope you guys enjoyed this mental health series for men project that we put on. All these 7 episodes. I hope you enjoyed them. And truthfully, I hope it saved at least one person's life by just talking. And I hope it gave you that sense of purpose that you need to keep fighting for a better day, to pull yourself up and get out of that dark hole. I know all of us in this room are here for you guys. If anyone ever needs to reach out, we're willing to talk, we're willing to listen. So keep working hard on your mental. We appreciate you guys tuning into this. We'll be back with interviews coming real soon.